Horses on them. There's a big one that comes there, you know, where they could have horses. Now they practice trees. Interesting.
Oh, okay.
That might have been the summer.
Thank you everyone for coming. Welcome to the Conservation Board meeting, Town of Victor. January 7th, our first meeting of 2025. Call the meeting to order at 6:30 and myself, Pat Coleman as chair. Tim Norman, Matt Madison, Keith Paris, Andrew Phillips. Thanks for joining us. We'll kick it off with the Eastview Mall Hotel, the Element by Weston. Applicants requesting approval to develop a new 4-story 23,580 square foot hotel with 123 rooms on a 91.4 acre parcel located on the west side of the mall property on existing paved lot between JCPenney and the former Taylor. Visual up on the screen. Do we have any representatives from the project?
Yes, thank you. Fred Shelley from BME, representing the applicant, and also Dan Daly from EVHDC1 LLC. Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us. We reviewed the materials, but if you don't mind, just bring us up to speed on the project.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as you mentioned, the applicant is requesting site plan approval from the planning board for the construction of the 4-story 123 room hotel. And again, as you mentioned, it's just under 24,000 square foot footprint on that, located at the northwest corner of the 91.4 acre lot R6 existing tax parcel. No new subdivision is proposed with this. The hotel site will be located within a lease parcel. The land will continue to be owned by the mall owner. So the property is bounded by the Target Home Depot stores to the north, BJ's property to the south. To the east, we have Route 96, and to the west, we have New York State Route 490. Site zoned commercial. The site is designed to comply generally with mostly with the existing underlying code, with the exception the applicant is requesting a waiver from the planning board under the cluster zoning provisions of the town to allow the 55 plus or minus 59 foot high, tall building to be located there where 35 feet is allowed. The planning board has granted waivers for this and other mall stores, the Van Mauer, I believe, and then the main entrance, the big portion of the building up front are examples of places on this site where that has been allowed. The hotel is proposed within the existing parking lot, as you mentioned, between or at the corner of JCPenney's and Lord and Taylor, and it will have direct access to the Ring Road, Eastview Mall Drive, along the west side of the site. As mentioned, the developer will be leasing this, be developing a lease parcel to keep that cleaned up. Reciprocal easement agreements will be entered into between the developer and the mall owner. Those will include parking, address parking, water supply, sanitary sewer, utilities, and that such. Get into that a little bit deeper as we go through. The development footprint disturbance area is going to be approximately 3.3 acres. And it includes the introduction of new landscape areas, lawn and open space areas. And ultimately, it's going to reduce an increase. It's going to result in an increase of approximately 0.67 or 0.66 acres of green space, open space within the area. So pervious area will go down under existing conditions. Speaking on that, site runoff is going to remain consistent with the existing drainage patterns, which are directed through the currently paved parking lot into catch basins and storm sewers, and then discharge to the infiltration pond located just on the other side of Eastview Mall Drive. That pond is, as I said, it's an infiltration that has no outlet to any federal or state regulated wetlands. As such, even though we are disturbing 3.3 acres, we have no discharge to waters of the U.S. or properties off of this. So no SPEDI's general permit for construction activities is required. Plans do include erosion and sediment controls to address the construction site runoff, address any of the erosion or sediment that may be accumulated through the project, and that's to be followed through there. Site lighting, we'll switch into that. It's proposed via on-site lighting light poles. They're similar to they're going to be dark sky LED, similar to what's being replaced out there at the site right now. I think there are a few old heads within this development footprint, so those will be removed, and all the lighting for the hotel that's associated with the hotel parking lots will be controlled by the developer. Hotel access, just looking a little bit further out, it's via Route 96 through the existing mall entrances. And if you go maybe to the cover sheet, that might give you a little bit more direction on that. We did reach out to the New York State DOT, provided them our trip counts, our estimated trip count generation calculations, and requested if they had any concerns, and they shared no, they indicated they have no concerns with the proposal or the minor increase of traffic during either both weekday peak hours and then weekends as well. Site water, sewer, and other utilities will be extended from the existing private utilities that are located on site. So water and sewer is currently maintained by the mall owner, and the site will tap into it. It's all one tax parcel, so we can do that without any issues. And then lastly, there's no state or federal wetlands or any SHPO or archaeological or historical areas identified on any of the resource mapping. So we don't anticipate any impact to those. So with that,
Great.
hopefully I didn't extend your night too long.
Thank you for the overview.
So still all existing parking lots.
Yes, it's currently all parking lot right now.
Questions from the board?
I see you put a landscape plan in. Did you look at the? We have a native plant manual. Did you use reference that?
Yeah, I
So
believe
you
that,
did-
yeah, the plan selections are familiar with the
Okay.
manual, and yeah, we have attempted to keep that consistent.
You said the DOT had no concerns about the increase or the change in traffic pattern while you're doing that, what about during construction, mitigation?
The developer will work with the mall owner. Currently, as I said, this is by Lord and Taylor. This is that store is not full now. It's formerly Lord and Taylor, so there's not a whole lot of parking going on in that area now. So you know, the developer will work with the mall owner for any detours or rerouting of traffic as necessary for any of the construction activities.
When would you like the project to start? Sometime. Yesterday? Maybe not yesterday.
Maybe not yesterday, sometime in the spring,
And then in anticipation of how long it will take.
18 months. Ish, plus or minus. That's turnkey or that's just me?
Good, no questions for me.
No,
I mean, from a conservation
Right.
standpoint, it's a parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, you're actually adding some green space.
Yeah.
It's a net gain for us.
Right.
Yeah.
The DOT has no issues, then we don't need it.
Yeah, I mean, for the planning board, we'll have a lot to comment on and ask about, but my perspective.
From conservation board, yeah.
I think you're tying into existing runoff and the infiltration pond, which is right there. It's right across the road from it, literally. So I think that's key too. I think that's a big factor. What do we have? What's our action here? Just to acknowledge it?
Any comments coming up
Okay.
off the board, which I don't think that I think we have done.
Are you guys, when are you on planning board?
Next week.
Next week, okay. Yeah, I don't know.
No issues,
Straightforward.
concerns from our end.
Excellent.
Thanks for
Yeah.
joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very nice. Stay warm.
Yeah.
Thanks. Welcome to stay if
I'm not trying to hide tonight. You guys might be back.
Yeah. All right, move on. Good night, guys.
That's good.
Stover subdivision, final and preliminary Benson Road project, which we reviewed, November and 19th. Applicant is requesting approval to subdivide an 11.6 acre parcel to 3 residential lots. It is in the limited development. Folks here from the project. Yep. If you don't mind introducing yourselves and just giving us an overview. Great.
Steve Schultz with MRV Group. Todd Stover, property owner. Yep. You have all the plans or just?
We have reviewed them. If we don't have, little copies of them here, we have had them in our
Okay,
package.
you do have the others.
So,
The other sheet there. Okay, yeah, Todd owns, about 11 and a half acres at the corner there, of Lower Fishers and Benson Road. and is proposing to subdivide into 3 residential lots. All the lots meet the requirements of code, the limited development, setbacks, et cetera. All the development of the property will take place close to Benson Road. Our plan with that is to have all 3 homes access Benson Road, even though the lowest lot also runs along Lower Fishers Road. Currently, he has a Quonset hut type shed that he's fixed up and uses that for storage. That's gonna remain. So the 3 homes will be all access Benson Road. We have septic systems designed to serve each house. Perk tests and depots that were witnessed by the Bella town engineer. And everything went fine with those, so the septic systems are all subsurface. There's no raised bed, there's no issues with groundwater or bedrock or anything like that. Soils are very consistent throughout the site. Septic systems and homes, like I said, are pushed close to Benson Road to minimize disturbance of the site. If someone wanted to change something in the way they build it, they would have to come back. They'd have to re-perk it, design a new septic system and change layout. But right now, we try to minimize disturbance, about 1.7 acres or so with the grading, the septic, the driveways, et cetera, sidewalks and front yards. Water services will be provided with the water main on the opposite side of Benson Road. But to get water authority approval for those. Just go to the planning board for a sketch plan review, and they were fine with it. The one item of discussion we have with them is conservation easement required. We got on the drawing. We went with suggestion of the town engineer, and that was to incorporate the buffer that's on the stream that runs through lot 3 there, the lowest lot runs east west. That has a 75-foot buffer required by town code. So it was his opinion we could use that area as part of our conservation easement because there's no building allowed within 75 feet, no impervious surfaces. And the remainder will be the rear of lots 1 and 2 and a little bit of lot 3. You can see the line kind of running diagonal.
Yep.
There, and that equals more than half of the land. That's our proposed easement.
Are you planning on building on the lots, or at this point, you're just trying to subdivide?
Just subdivide at this point.
Not talking earth movement, tree removal, or any of that stuff at this point.
Right.
So where the metal, I forgot the term.
Quonset hut,
Shed.
Where the shed is, would that be in the conservation easement?
No,
No. they
So
wouldn't
where
allow it.
does, so
Yeah,
if this is oriented north-south, the conservation easement,
Open.
where's the south?
I can find a boundary. Like this point out, that's a point or something. It's it would be, here's a stream here,
Yep.
the darker line, and then 75 foot is here.
Okay.
So here, so this area here would all be conservation easement. This would be out of it. Anything from here down to Lower Fishers would be out of it. And then this area here would all be in it as well.
Good.
Essentially, it's this and then all of this.
Question for the board, how do we mark those
Yeah.
lines?
For town code. Right? I mean, ultimately that would.
Yeah, no, right, for code, but I mean, you see, there's
Yeah,
probably two
per the
dozen.
code, you're supposed to stake it at the property. So.
And then also when it turns.
But when it's turning, so when you have a intersection, so I see, I don't know,
Yeah.
a dozen or so intersections up
Yeah,
there.
you wouldn't be able to stake that unless you had a stake every 5 feet.
That's
Well,
a-
it's-
right.
So
Yeah,
the suggestion might be to
stream that a little bit.
straighten it in
Yes.
a way that I agree with utilizing the buffer zone for as much as the conservation easement as possible. But understanding the requirements of staking it. You may want to try to straighten out
Yeah,
those lines,
yeah, I
if
think
at all possible.
just taking a ruler and just drawing. This is crude, I know, but drawing it straight across, that would be more practical. I mean, changing the balance, the areas to get your recorded area would probably be what I would suggest.
That way you wouldn't have to worry about the markers like you would.
And it could be closer to the stream too.
I was just gonna say, you'll need to abide by the 75 feet, but at the same, right? At the same time.
Yeah.
Probably smooth it out a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be a straight line. I would just go with as many, there's few intersections or changes in direction. of that.
Yeah.
I'm saying
It'll
it's
save
just-
you.
if you drew a line in some spots and became closer to the stream, that wouldn't supersede the requirements of the stream 75-foot buffer.
Correct.
Right. You wouldn't be able to get any closer than 75, but you just have to you would want to probably straighten it out. 75. Plus.
So in other words, the town code requires that it basically at a turn, if you will, in the easement, that it must be staked. So therefore, kind of working around that requirement and then the 75-foot buffer. In an effort to maybe reduce your stakes.
Maybe you just do straight on either side.
Yeah, I mean, if your creek's here, right, you gotta probably come, you're 75 feet,
Wow.
and then so you might just do two things. So you'd have a marker here, marker here, marker here, that's it.
Rather than the 1, 2, 3. 4
Yeah.
Change.
Yeah.
Right. It's
What are the markers that are used?
3 options. The one is a 4x4 stake with a placard. The other, I believe, is an actual like metal stake with a placard, and the third is sort of a natural barrier, like a large stone boulder, etc. It really would be difficult to move or
Yep.
mow over, etc. Yeah. So what are those 3 options or a combination of
Yeah,
them?
we could straighten the lines this time.
It's just in an effort to
More,
help you.
yeah, it'll be easier for you when it comes time to
Yeah.
staking this out. The straighter they are, the less stakes you'll need.
We've run into this in the past. This has been, I'd say, one of our initiatives the last year or so, is to try to really clarify the boundaries, make sure it's clear to when it's under development, but also when the homeowner takes title of it.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Can do that.
Have you had any thought about what kind of easement place? In other words, there are 3. One's a very restrictive, pretty much can't touch it. One has some seasonal mowing, etc. Pick up deadfalls, and then there's in the middle where we can sort of in a sense design and kind of find a happy medium between the two. Or if you've had any thought or.
Yeah, we discussed that. Lisa sent us an email with the various easements, so I printed out 2 of them. The third one, like you said, is sort of, I think it's the most restrictive one, just with brackets, so you can pick and choose certain items, but we were always under the impression that based on my code, it would be an open space easement, which is the least restrictive of the 3, and we think that's consistent with the neighboring developments, at least looking at the homes and the big subdivision across the street. But to us, it appears as though they're more along the lines of the open space easement, which you read, looking through the code, it refers to open space easement. We don't
Agreed.
think there's anything out of the ordinary on the property that would need special consideration. I mean, obviously, the stream is probably the most critical thing, and that's protected by code already.
And so the lot now is it forest, is it old pasture land?
Trees, right?
Some of it's trees. It is old farmland. I have pictures of tractors on the hill there, but the area down by the stream, it's a lot of willows and black walnut. But much of the rest of it is all just really thick brush that you don't want to get caught in it.
Yeah, it's hard to walk.
It
Brush
is.
and ticks.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of brush, but unfortunately, he has some paths mowed through walking paths and things like that. So that's how we got around to be able to do our perk test. Otherwise, really difficult.
You know, that, you know, my mind goes right to the easements because there are, you know, it does allow maintenance of existing paths, things like that. So, you know, think that through to make sure what you currently have and enjoy, you're allowed to continue doing. So,
Keep any of the three yourselves?
So what I'm thinking is, so lots 1 and 2, the rectangular ones there, I think pretty quickly I would list for sale. And then my wife and I were planning to hang on to the third lot. We were debating,
Just in case.
yeah, what the long-term plan is. We've got two boys and we're trying to figure out, you know, where they end up. So if they're not around, I don't know that we'll be around. So they're trying to figure it out. Oh, I'm sorry, say again?
Up for debate.
Yes, yes.
Fair enough.
Is there any trails? Is this an existing shed?
Yes, yeah, it's been there since I think either the late 40s or early 50s.
Would there be any trails back and forth between this house and that or connection?
There are trails now that had been there, but you walking paths.
Yeah, there's a walk path now between the shed and the area where the 3 homes are.
I would probably say you want a site specific easement. If you're gonna be there and keep those trails maintained, you know, some home, I guess, every couple twice a year or something like that. You probably want a site specific, be my suggestion. Easement.
Meaning what, that the open space one wouldn't apply or?
Yeah, I think I would go for the site specific, which is more that custom.
so I mean, the title site specific protections for open space. And, you know, we typically see this when there's some existing usage that you're trying to maintain. It allows you to craft a little more, make it a little more unique to your property,
Okay.
but you know, that's just our suggestion there's a little more flexibility in that one where you can kind of craft it to your needs. But ultimately, whatever's chosen, we have to live with. So we want to make sure that people kind of get it right the first time. So you're not back in 3 years trying to get something changed.
It looks like the open space easement. It's conducive to everything he does now.
Yes, I would agree.
It mentions trails. During a brush that falls from footpaths. I don't know if there's anything you saw in reading this that the open space would preclude you from doing that you're doing now.
Is there already an easement on this property or would you be going for?
We do.
Right, there's not one currently.
So the site specific, is that already written? Or is that essentially taking this easement and picking what applied to your property?
The latter, yeah. Sort of in a sense, I want to say about that. More selective. I mean, if the open space one works, it's fine, but Tim's point.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Is there on the open space? I'm asking this to the board. Do we have? I thought we couldn't have more vehicles back there. If that was done. So I guess what I'm saying is you might want the site specific. The open space, yes, it is, but it is kind of open. We'll say it's broadly written. However, I believe the site specific that lets you go in and mow and lets you use more vehicles in specific, whatever you agree on, 2 times meter.
So I think ultimately, you know, we don't have strong concerns on there being a, you know, sensitive area to protect. We just want to make sure that your future uses are allowed by the conservation easement, so just
Yeah.
read through it carefully,
Yeah.
make sure you choose the right one. If you have questions or you know, we can certainly answer those for you.
Okay.
And also, you know, you protect if there's something that you wouldn't want. So let's say you did keep your lot there and you're allowing motor vehicles and someone buys those other two and they're ripping through there with motorcycles and you're like, oh, we really want it to be quiet. You know what I mean? So you want to just think about what you want to see and not see there, and you can write that in.
Right.
So it kind of protects you too.
It would be written in for part of it and then for certain lots and then different one for other lots, or is
I
it?
think it goes by the
I think it's the whole.
parcel.
Yeah,
It's the whole parcel.
Yeah.
You can have different, we've done it with different, like site-specific natural resource would be the most restrictive. We've done that before. I think, one over on Aldrich Road, we did that. Where we wanted a specific set of trees saved. So we had natural resource, but everything else was more site-specific, where they were able to go in with, you know, lawnmower or four-wheeler, whatever it was to clear paths.
So does open space allow for mowing?
Yeah, I mean, you can, it says there should be no mowing with the exception of, and you can choose seasonal mowing blank times annually. You could write in 5 times, or, you know, so that's where we're saying this one's built to be a little more flexible. I think you can. I mean, I think you could probably get attorneys involved in, you know, craft your own and stuff, but typically the quickest, easiest way is to utilize the site specific because there's already some flexibility in there, but ultimately to Matt's point, think through what you want and don't want and just pay attention to the language.
Can you do it for a tractor or
Yeah.
if you wanna use that? and you
Yeah.
don't wanna- Yeah, we're looking more closely and.
Yeah.
Then when we go to the planning board, we can let them know. Because that's not till the end of the month.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, it gives you a little time to think. It's future utility, how you want to use the land.
We discussed a site walk. We feel that's still necessary.
I would like it because eventually those lots are gonna be sold and then folks are gonna be coming before us, so.
Yeah,
I'd like to see, you know, kind of what's there and
Mhm.
what, if there is anything we want to protect, and I like the idea about keeping it close to the road. But once we just develop it, means that they're gonna land.
I'll bring my flashlight.
I know,
We got one.
maybe a Saturday or something.
Let the ticks die off first.
Yeah.
Or maybe for it to warm up above 18.
nice. I agree.
You get ticks or you get freezing weather, your choice.
So if you're all right with that, we'll just coordinate it, maybe 15, 25 minutes at most.
Sure.
All of us, if not most of us, will join you. Just a quick walk, you're welcome to attend, but Todd, we could probably do so with you.
Okay.
Schedules don't align, so.
But is it normally on a Saturday?
No, it doesn't have to be.
I'm just thinking because of the
Scheduling wise, this, you know,
Yeah.
because it gets started so early and this tends to end up being on a weekend.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to.
I've done them with previous concerts before. I think we've done them on Saturday. But during the week, will be fine.
Is the stream, is there a continuous flow of water? Is it just a stream 2 months out of the year?
No, it's there continuously. When there's heavy rains, it's really moving, but you know, in the drier parts of the summer, some areas it's really a trickle, but it's constantly moving.
I know you might get to this, you know, you're subdividing all these out, so these two owners or these two lots might have their specific plans, but I noticed the gradients, elevation changes pretty significant back
here
here.
back, yeah.
What's your plan there, at least for these two lots? It looks like third lot, maybe not so much.
The plan in terms,
Are you gonna remove material or what's, you're kind of building, I'm looking at the grading plan right now, so.
I think the intent of this is to, I mean, obviously where we have septic system, the grades don't change. And then we work kind of from those up to the house and over to the road. It's, we tried to minimize the grading as much as possible. The
Okay.
house is set. The lot one house is about 4 feet above the road. Lot two is just about a couple feet. Same with lot three is about 3 feet. The goal with the driveways is to have all the driveways go up. Up slope. So get positive drainage away from the building. So obviously the lot one house is at the top of the hill on opposite Arbor Glen with the driveway. And we just work our way up the driveway and set the house based upon that. And the house elevations are actually the garage floor is what I typically show, because you never know if someone's gonna have a step up or 2 steps up or whatever to their first floor, so. So it really just has to work for the garage, and then usually up, the front porch, you're gonna have a step or 2 and step up into the house.
Makes sense. Okay.
But we just mostly just tried to work as best we could with the grades that are out there. And minimize how much grading we're doing, and lot 3 is actually very minimal grading. It's a little bit around the house and just down over the septic tank and the driveway down to the street.
You are prepping these then for, I'm sorry, I thought you were just subdividing.
Yep, just
You are subdividing, but you also are gonna have them ready to be, you're doing some,
No.
No,
oh, you're not,
just pre-approved.
It'll be, we have to show a plan to the planning board
Okay.
that works, that someone could come and build it this way.
gotcha,
More than likely, a house isn't gonna be a rectangle.
yeah,
I mean, it's-
You're not touching
you don't know
anything.
architecturally what someone's gonna wanna do, but.
Yeah.
If you look across the street and in the neighborhood, obviously the houses are, they're very nice and well designed and. So they're probably gonna have some zigs and zags and jogs and different peaks on the roof and stuff like that. Well, you'll, I don't know if you would ultimately see that or not when someone wants to build a home here, do they come back to you or they just go to town and get a building permit?
I think because it's an LDD, they'd have to come back. But
Yeah, it has been in the past.
yeah,
Come back. But I mean, the beauty of what you're doing here is you're setting something up for a plan that closes within compliance, so. Would be more than just revisiting some of our notes and when we do the site walk, revisiting some of the notes from that and make sure that we're all okay with it.
Well, to make sure that they comply with these,
Yeah.
yeah.
whichever one we pick. Time fix.
That's it. Any additional questions? All right, our takeaway will be to schedule a site walk.
Okay.
And the town will be in touch to do so. Or that. Here. Questions for us? David, any questions?
What's your schedule? What's your planned schedule? Going to be in front of planning board and.
Yeah, we requested preliminary final approval. You know, we had in this room, we had a pre zoning meeting or whatever with town staff, and that was their suggested plan of action with sketch plan, and then since it was pretty straightforward, not a lot of difference between the people on the left and the people on the right, and so it's all similarly developed. As long as we met code, they seem to be okay with it. And I don't think we've gotten any comments. Have you seen it?
No,
Not
nothing.
any comments yet, but I'm sure they're still focusing on probably their first meeting of the month. We're the second meeting, so we'll probably get some comments from the town engineer and town staff at some point later in the month.
I work closely with the town engineer throughout the whole process, so. Surprises.
Yeah, we'll take it.
No one likes surprise.
If you can nail down that language if you'd like. And
Straighten the line.
straighten the lines.
Yeah.
If you can, it would just be
Even
your best
marking.
interest. See you soon for second one.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
That's maybe once a month or twice a month.
Usually twice, so long as there's business to be discussed, but, yeah. That said, last order of business is to approve of the November 19th minutes, last meeting last year. And the December 3rd, but we did not meet them on November 19th. As the board had a chance to review. If so, any comments?
Review them. I'll make sure that things handiwork again.
The dutiful handiwork.
In beautiful handiwork. Yeah, it was.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No comments from me, and I'll make a motion to approve the November 19th, 2024 minutes.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Keith. I'll,
Hi.
I don't think I can vote.
extension from Mr. Phillips. Meeting minutes approved.
Make a motion, we adjourn then?
I-
Oh, unless you had it.
No, no, I'm just gonna ask for it.
Right.
Motion from Mr. Madison. Adjourned, do I have a second?
Second.
Phillips. Meeting adjourned 7:07. Okay.
A long one.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Wish you all happy to be here.
Oh, you too.
Thank you.